Which way FKF polls? That is the million-dollar question on the lips of many a football fan after Kitui Court halted the FKF branch elections that should have been held on Saturday. Firat has his men ready for camp, but will he get it right this time round against Namibia and Zimbabwe? Or will it be many excuses galore? We bring you a detailed analysis into this and much more. Swila's shot pulls the shots on the FKF elections and what is required of the leadership. In our quickfire segment, we discuss the Chep Saita cross-country run, and we'll be speaking to Athletics Kenya President Lieutenant General retired Jackson Tuwei and the Chep Saita Organizing Committee Chairperson Banaba Korir. You don't want to miss that, including the EPL. Is Pep Guardiola's era coming to an end? Welcome to Sporty Monday. My name is Isaac Swila. But first, to the question of the day, we are asking you, do you think Harambee Stars will beat Namibia and Zimbabwe to qualify for next year's African Cup of Nations finals? Do you think Harambee Stars will beat Namibia and Zimbabwe to qualify for next year's Africa Cup of Nations finals that will be held in Morocco? We want to hear from you. 22422. You can text us on that number, and of course we'll be sampling your feedback. We're also on social media at Facebook, and also on X at Citizen TV Kenya, at Isaac Swila, at Steve Shtera. You can X us, and of course we will be sampling your feedback during and at the tail end. And of course, as earlier mentioned, in our quickfire segment, we'll be discussing the Chep Saita cross-country run. And of course, we already have Mr. Barnaba Korir in studio waiting patiently for that engagement. And of course, we will be speaking to him shortly, of course, after our top story. And of course, we begin in Kitui, where Kitui Court halted the FKF branch elections that were penciled for last Saturday, throwing the entire plan into disarray. And of course, that's where we begin our top story. Steve Shtera, let me begin with you, of course. Not a very good development for football fans and the FKF electoral board, but it is what it is.
I saw it coming because only two people have not complained about what has been going on. Mm-hmm. The current FKF president, Nick Mwendwa, and the former CEO, Barry Otieno. The rest, the candidates have complained. Kempes has a case in court at CAS. Hussein Mohammed has complained. Tom Alila has complained. Shimanyula has complained. Former President Sam Nyamwea chickened out. So everyone has a problem.
You said chickened out.
Everyone has a problem except the current president, Nick Mwendwa, and the former CEO, Barry Otieno. So there is something they know that other people don't know. And the court case technically halts the process. There'll be no elections until and when that order is discussed and a ruling passed. Probably, I think it's tomorrow or Wednesday? Tomorrow. Tuesday. Yeah, so there is a hearing tomorrow until it's heard and a direction given on which way forward. I think there will be no election. Even if the new orders were to come, probably saying that they can proceed with the election, it will not happen on December 7th as it had originally been scheduled because county elections were halted. So in my view, I think we are behind schedule as directed by FIFA because I think the hurry even to have the elections within 3 months after the SGM, I think it was a rush to beat FIFA's deadline, which in my view we are not in a position to do it. And technically now this leads us to another discussion. Probably FIFA will guide us. If the elections will not be held, there must be a normalization committee which will midwife this process, because as it is, really it's already dirty.
Actually, the data had been the talk at one point. Remember, even when the stakeholders held a meeting.
Led by Paul Tergat.
Paul Tergat. Yeah. Back then it was CS Namwamba who was in charge. Yeah. And this was actually mooted. But now, Wakili, let me come to you. Where does this leave us? It's more of a Pandora box or catch-22 situation. As a lawyer, of course, the litigation we are seeing, we probably thought the road was all clear when the board went on and cleared all the candidates. But actually, the party in court here is the Kenya Football Association. And actually, the prayers they are seeking is they're saying they have the legitimacy. They are rather claiming legitimacy at the behest of FKF. Where does this leave us, and what's your thought on that?
Yeah, to first begin with, I think all this, in my opinion, all this was meant to be what it is currently, because the issue of FKF not having been registered as the legit sports, national sports organization to run football in this country is not an issue that has just come up. This started way back in 2015, October. I remember during the election that Nyamweya was the outgoing president. There was the issue of an electoral board having been constituted a few months to the elections. The then CS for Sports, Hassan Wario, made a comment when I think the then Vice President Sami Sholei had a petition to Senate to deal with the issues of elections. And they were so clear that the ministry was not going to interfere with matters FKF until they are recognized. And the only way they were to be recognized was for them to comply with the Sports Act, which came into place in 2013. So there is no explanation why 11 years down the line, FKF has not bothered to register itself or to be compliant with the Sports Act. It is very deliberate, and for a body to now emerge and claim that they are the legitimately registered national organization to run football is suspicious. But again, you cannot blame them, because the Office of the Sports Registrar is there, established, and part of their roles under the Section 47(2) is to make sure they register a national sports organization. They can only register one. So if this KFA registered itself, and the only way you can prove registration, even based on the Sports Act, is having a legitimate entry in the sports registrar's register. So for that case, you look at a random check on that sports register does not give you FKF. So this is something that was planned. Somebody was so deliberate on stopping these elections. There have been talks, of course, concerns are, why is it that some candidates seem to be comfortable with the situation? Remember when this roadmap was given, we saw the very tight timelines that we were running with, but at the same time, there is need for us to hold legitimate elections that will be acceptable. Buretu, we find ourselves in a situation where, yes, we've gone ahead, done elections, but these elections can be challenged. But you look at what is at stake, I think it's important that the mess is sorted. I want to appreciate the courts, because they are also appreciating the strict timelines with which we are working with, and seeing that we have CHAN coming up in February, and we have our AFCON hosting rights, the Pamoja bid, at stake. So at this point, I think it's a matter of all the people concerned having the need to see that there is some sort of game being played, and let us just put things straight, because we cannot be dealing with legitimacy of a body to organize an election. As Shitera has rightfully mentioned, there is a case against the board. There have been several cases. The past week, it has just been people seeking to stop, ranging from the electoral registrar, ranging from where the polling stations are supposed to be, and the manner in which all these preparations have been done. Yeah.
And of course, this matter will be coming up for hearing on Tuesday. And still staying with FKF matters, let's take a look at, listen to what CS Murkomen had to say regarding the FKF polls.
The residual power of the minister to still disband whatever team which has been established if the law has not been followed is there. But we should not go there. That is extreme end. We shouldn't be desiring even or imagining to do so. I request that we have free and fair elections.
Shitera, you've been calling on the CS to bite hard, but before you chime in on that, Festus, welcome to the program probably. What's your thought on all this?
I would like to agree with Shitera, who has said we have former FKF CEO Barry Otieno and current President Sam Nyamoya being okay with whatever that is happening. And I would like to ask, like when Nick was seeking his first term or even when he was defending his second term, we didn't have such cases. And for the last 4 years, where has KFA been? So I would agree with Shitera that somebody is pushing KFA, and I would like to give an opinion that someone is applying a delaying tactic so that he or she can halt the process. Yes.
And you remember the back and forth. In fact, FKF is a very big metamorphosis. You remember it started from the KFF, and then FKL, and then FKF was born. Probably, you remember when the former president Sam Nyamoya was pushing KFF's agenda. There was FKL and
the one led by
Hatimi and Kasuve.
Yes.
And when Nyamoya got over them, that's when the name was changed to FKF. So it is the same thing. You remember, it was FKL, but then KFF prevailed upon Hatimi and Kasuve. And then there was FKF. Now we are hearing of KFA. This is really technical. Don't take it lightly. As Wakili has said, if you go to the books, KFA is registered. FKF is not registered. So which movement is recognized by the law? KFA. So someone is bringing in something that is really technical here. And to handle it, I think no one saw it coming, but it's a very, very big elephant in the room that will really mess us if we are not careful.
Of course, that's a big story, and of course we'll keep our eyes trained on the courts on Tuesday when the matter is being heard, and probably see on Tuesday when the matter is being heard, and probably see a way forward. And of course, still matters football.